We say it all the time here on the channel, protecting yourself is a higher priority than protecting your stuff. Want to take your knowledge beyond the narrated videos? Join us on Active Self-Protection Extra and subscribe for multiple videos every week to help you get better in your defensive skills. Welcome to today's Active Self-Protection lesson. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video comes to us out of Sao Paulo in Brazil, and it shows us a couple of opportunistic carjackers who were not ready for what's coming. You're going to see the car on screen here. It's going to start to move just as the two guys walking by it are going to walk by. You're going to see him barely start to move here and get the car moving when this guy's going to come over and try his driver's door, and it's going to open. So he's going to yank that guy out of the car while his partner gets in. Well, the guy he yanks out is an off-duty police officer. So he's going to put several shots in that guy and put him down while his partner had actually bugged out of the car. That guy sat there on the asphalt, took the asphalt temperature challenge. The other guy did get away for a while, but they ended up finding the car a little while later, and that is where this one ends. Solid work, but some things to think about out of this one. If you appreciate the lessons that you get every day at Active Self-Protection, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss a lesson. Out of today's video, I want to think about keeping your tools on your person, about the critical importance of awareness and how important it is when you are in your car to lock your dang doors. So let's think about paying attention in your car. And a couple of things come to mind significantly when you talk about paying attention in your car. Number one, seeing who's around is important. And number two, we think about this idea of being in a transitional space. Your car, when it's stopped, is a transitional space. And when you're in transitional spaces, you must pay attention to your surroundings. Again, attention buys you time and time buys you options. So having that and having your tools on you can go a long way. That said, part of paying attention is locking your dang door. You have to be willing to lock the doors on your cars. Get in the car and lock the door. I see so many of these instances that could have been prevented. This car's in motion. If his door's locked and that guy tries the door and the door is not open, well, then he would have never had this problem to begin with. Now, notice here that our off-duty officer bails out of the car. A carjacking, by its definition, is a violent felony. It's a felony. They're stealing a car from you, and it is violent. They're pulling you out of the car and doing you harm to do so. So this can be construed as a deadly threat, especially with 2-on-1. Now, of course, if you had your family in there, you got your spouse, your children, you got somebody that's a vulnerable population you're responsible for, you got to fight from the car. However, he didn't have that in this instance. He did have a partner with him. So he bails, he gets to a better spot and gets his gun out and in the fight. I'm totally comfortable with this. This guy's still coming after him. He's just violently attacked him, taken him out of his car, committed a violent felony against him. Getting his gun out here to get a little bit of, having gotten a little bit of space, incredibly wise. Even using it as the guy keeps after him, incredibly wise. Now, you might see here that when the officer makes the decision to fire, this guy's coming after him and he is facing him. But when the shot actually breaks, you're going to see him kind of turn just a little bit because there's some time involved there from the decision to the shot. That's what human performance factors are. Now, I want to pay attention here as well. Notice his partner. I think this is an important thing. When the other guy gets in, I'm sure they're having a talk for a second. Whoa, what the heck is going on? But as soon as that partner realizes this is a violent felony, I don't want to be here, he bails out of the car as well. Once again, if you had loved ones in the car, if you had vulnerable population that you are responsible for in the car, children in the car, elderly parents, stuff like that, you could not do this. But in that other case, get the heck out of the danger zone. Very wise at that point. Bail out of the car. So knowing how to get your seatbelt off quickly and get out of the car quickly, incredibly important. Now let's think about the officer shooting here. You can actually see this one is kind of interesting because this guy is appearing to be in flight. However, it's still all in one action. I'm still comfortable with this officer's actions based on the totality of the circumstances. But at some point that's going to end and you got to stop shooting, friends. When he's in full flight. Now, I don't know that he's in full flight yet because he's still in close proximity, but it will get there eventually. Notice as well on the car, you can see right here that there is blood all over the car. That round that is going off from the officer's gun right here has gone through and has caused a very rare actual blood spatter from the other side of this bad guy. And it was fatal, the wounds that he took. Now, what I want to know about with that is I want to make sure that you're carrying the best defensive ammo in your firearm that you can, and it should expand reliably and not overpenetrate. My guess would be that is full metal jacketed rounds. Now, once that guy is down, the other car is driven off. There's nothing you're going to do about that. We're not trying to protect the vehicle. We're not trying to protect stuff. We're trying to protect our lives. So now you got to take follow-up actions. You got to see, wait a minute, is this guy continuing a deadly threat? And when he's not continuing a deadly threat anymore, you've got to stop shooting. And that's exactly what the officer did. And then he starts assessing. So once the fight is over, again, we fight until the fight stops. We assess to see if the work that we've done is enough. Then we scan and we see what else is going on and take appropriate follow-up actions. And this is appropriate and important stuff. And you notice that the officer does that here and starts communicating. Now, there's a bunch of stuff that we want to go through there on that, but I think he did a pretty good job at the end of the day of making sure that he had his tools on him, that he used them appropriately, had pretty darn good marksmanship, stopped when he needed to stop, did what he had to do, and covered his asp.